News Talk 760 WJR is proud to present Women Who Lead. Profiling great women impacting the Great Lakes with WJR's Ann Thomas.
Welcome back to part 2 of Women Who Lead. Today's guest, Terry Barclay, the president and CEO of InForum. So you started the leadership program.
Another big thing we did, and I know you're familiar with this, is we launched the Michigan Women's Leadership Index.
Talk about that.
In 2003. What we wanted to do was start the drip of information, the hard numbers, because it comes back to hard numbers. How are we doing? Women are everywhere in the workforce. They represent over half of the general workforce. But where are they in the leadership ranks? So we look in the Michigan Women's Leadership Index at the very top tier of corporate leadership, the 100 largest companies that are headquartered in our state, and we look at the number of women on their boards of directors and the number of women in their top officer positions. And the results have been shocking, quite frankly. There are still very few women at the very top levels of leadership in Michigan. And our numbers are no different than the numbers across the country.
Right.
So we see that there are no women who are CEOs of those 100 largest companies. Women represent about 7% of the very top officer ranks, about 9%, 10% of the boards of directors, and about 12% of all executive officers. That is, all of the officers that are listed on the 10K are the SEC proxy filings for those companies. So we see that while we're half of the workforce, we're still more or less in the single digits.
Why do you think that is?
Well, there was a great article in the Harvard Business Review this last fall called Women and the Labyrinth of Leadership. Mm-hmm. And what the folks at Harvard were looking at was why is it? And there's no one answer to that question is what they found. They were saying we need to get away from that image of the glass ceiling, which is kind of an old image of women peering through the glass up at the top but not able to break through that glass level. Mm-hmm. They're saying it's more like a labyrinth or a maze, that throughout a woman's career there are various barriers that are thrown up. For younger women, it might be raising a family, and how do you deal with a high-pressured career while you're trying to seek work-life balance. For more senior women, it may be that subtle art of how do you develop relationships with the men who are at the very top of these companies, particularly when you may not have some of the natural opportunities that arise for other men to bond and provide, just identify sponsors amongst those male ranks. And so at each one of those barriers, women need help navigating them if they're going to find their way through the maze. So I think it's for a lot of reasons. I have to say our research doesn't look at the why. Our research is meant to be just a snapshot of what does the state of the world look like right now.
And it does spark great debate and conversation among people, which is the first step toward trying to solve the problem, I think.
It does. There's been a lot of talk lately, and I think you're right. That's a very good point, that we do need more discussion. This last year when we released the research, we had a panel of male CEOs who joined us to discuss the results.
And they did a great job. They were fascinating.
They were fascinating. Mm-hmm. One of the things that they encouraged us to do was, you need to not be afraid to keep these issues in front of us, because, these were corporate leaders. Chip McClure, the chairman, CEO, and president of Harvard Meritor, mm-hmm. Tony Early, the chairman and CEO of DTE Energy. Dan Lepp, Blue Cross Blue. These were leaders who have a bone-deep commitment to diversity.
And people employing thousands of men and women.
And I know, having spent some time with them, that they're constantly looking for ways to promote diversity because they realize that it has a bottom line impact on their companies. And they're saying, look, you need to stay in our face.
Right.
You
right.
need
Don't
to
let
keep,
this go.
Don't let it go. So that's why it's so great, everything that you're doing to promote the visibility of women leaders and provide an opportunity for women to learn from the masters, the people who've learned to navigate that labyrinth.
Exactly. Now, talk a little bit about leadership. You're a leader. I mean, you have really done great things with InForum.
Thank you.
Think of the young woman coming out of college, or even the young woman currently in a job, maybe looking to make a move, or, either start a career, change a career. You're a pro at that. You helped people change careers for a long time. What kind of advice do you have for them in this economy?
Well, first of all, I would say focus on your strengths. Spend some time really understanding what you're good at. Because when you spend that time uncovering your passion, where your passion really is, where that intersection is between your passion and your skills, I think that's kind of your own personal sweet spot. And that it helps you narrow down the opportunities that you're seeking if you understand what that sweet spot is. What's a good opportunity for you and what's a bad opportunity. I've seen more people derail by taking a job that they think that they should take for whatever reason. Maybe it's with a prestigious company. Maybe it pays more. Maybe they see it as a vertical step. They haven't taken the time, and they crash and burn. And so I think it's really important to know yourself and understand yourself. I'd say that's the first thing. The second thing is put time in this economy. Put time into managing your own energy and your own optimism. Not to say anything bad about people in the media who have to report the news when it's good or bad, but there's a lot of negative news out there right now.
And we're our own worst enemies.
We are.
If we continue to say bad things about the place where we live, work, and play, then bad things will come across to everybody, to the media. It's like a roller coaster.
It is.
It never ends.
You're absolutely right. You can get into a downward spiral, and I've really noticed that, not being a native of Michigan. I grew up in Phoenix, Denver, and Boston, and when I moved here, I remembered just thinking, gosh, people are hard on themselves around here. I mean, I see so many positives, and we create our own reality to some extent. And so I think it's important to keep your energy up, be around the people who feed you as opposed to the people who drain you when you're going through a process of change, and step forward in that way. A third thing I would say, though, is be persistent. Don't be tenacious. Don't give up. I see people get discouraged, and the old joke about success. It's just getting up one more time than you've been knocked down.
That's exactly right.
So there's something really powerful in doing that. So those are really kind of some of the three top things I would say. Of course, network. And there's a way to do it and a way not to do it.
What's the way not to do it? We kind of know how to do it, I think, but what shouldn't you do?
Two key things. Do not appear desperate. Do not have that desperate edge in your networking. And I think the other way to do it is to have a genuine, I don't know quite how to say this, but to have a genuine interest in things outside yourself. Yes, you're trying to make a change in your life, but I think that there's a way that people sniff out when people are sincere in their interest about something other than themselves. So many, one of the things that I see in some people is it's all about me.
Right.
You need to get to the place where it isn't all about you, where you have a genuine interest and curiosity. And are identifying ways that you can help advance the organization that you're interested in